about two countries. This topic has caught people's attention, including teenagers. As a teenager, I think it's important to know what's going on in our planet, so we can increase our strong social and environmental awareness. As a matter of fact, there was a huge conflict between US and Iran. My friend Sena will report the news and he will present you our interview with our special guest from Department Foreign Affairs regarding these issues. Stay tuned.
The US and Iran is now in terrible crisis. As you can see, President Trump launched a missile to Iran and hit their most beloved general, General Qasem Soleimani. The Iran struck again with missiles and it destroyed two military bases, which was Erbil and Al-Assad Air Base. This conflict might cause a bigger problem, regime may collapse or maybe worse, which is a third world war. The assassination of Qasem Soleimani has been an unexpected bounty for the Islamic Republic at the time when Iran was balancing multiple economic, domestic and regional pressures stemming from the Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign. Coming on the heels of anti-Iranian demonstrations in Iraq and Lebanon, and following Iran's own November 2019 protest that resulted in brutal government crackdown against its own people, the Soleimani killing has helped the Iranian government shift the narrative away from its perceived regional and domestic weakness to one of strength. Next up, I will interview Mr. Habib about this horrible incident. My name is Sana, and this is Mr. Habib, and we're going to talk about the US versus Iran, the conflict about it. So, tell me, Mr. Habib, what is the conflict going on between the US and Iran?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Habib. I'm the director at the Foreign Ministry in Indonesia, and let's us discuss on the issues that is recently becoming one of the global issues, particularly on the conflict between the United States and the Iranian Islamic Republic. The source of conflict, when we talk about the Iran-US issue, we need to talk and to understand the source of the conflict. The source of conflict is not about the conflict between these two countries, but also starting from the constellation of regional politics in Gulf countries as well as in the Middle East. Iran is, let's say, one of the strongest countries now in the region, right? The United States, they need to have a total, full influence in the region. They're starting with countries like Egypt. Egypt is not as strong as before. They start also with the Syrian, but they cannot defeat Syrian. So they now move the action to Iran because Iran is, let's say, the last defenders of the power in the region. So the United States need to occupy those regions without any challenge, without any country that can challenge the United States power, that is Iran. So they start thinking how to start to destroy the Iranian power in the region. That is the source of conflict.
So they wanted to get an easy way, but the more higher the consequences, right?
Yeah. Easiest way is the United States is trying to ensure that there is no country in the region can challenge their power, because they have a very big interest in the region for the oil source, for the political and military power as well, and particularly to protect their interests through their own alliance, like Saudi Arabian and the Israelian. Iran and Israelian is, the situation, and Israelian also knows that Iran is the only country in the region that they need to defeat. That's the source of the conflict.
So, do you think this issue can give the negative effect to Indonesia, and why?
There are at least, I can say, three direct impact to the interest of Indonesia. First is on the oil trade, the global oil trade and the global oil price. If they fight, Iran as the source of the oil of the world, as well as this region is also the source of the global oil import. So when they fight each other, when they fought, of course, the trade of oil between countries from the source in the region into the other part of the world will be also impacted. The price, the cost will be increased. So countries like Indonesia have to buy oil with a higher price. So it's not good for the economy. Second one is on the domestic politics. Domestic politics means that the region that is surrounding by the Islamic countries will also be, let's say, politically and militarily unstable if Iranian and the US fight. Right? They are becoming unstable. They're becoming more focused on the military and political power. It means that the solidarity among the Muslim countries, like Indonesia, is also becoming one of the targets, and also that it will also raise the sentiment of the domestic public in Indonesia because of the Muslim solidarity.
So they wanted to end the Muslim solidarity or something like that.
Yeah. And the third one is, of course, if U.S. starting war with Iranian, so the U.S. will focus and will provide all the resources of the country to win the war, to defeat the Iranian, meaning that their focus, their attention to the region in Indonesia is also lessened. It's also decreasing, and it means also that they will not give any political influence in the region, meaning other countries that has also like a big power will try to occupy the region with their power, like China, for example. If the United States is focusing on the Middle East, they left the region. The Pacific Fleet in Hawaii also leave the region, go to the Middle East to war. So there is no U.S. Entities or military station in the region that can be ready to protect the region. Meaning the Chinese fleet, the Chinese military, the Chinese political power, like what we have in Natuna, they will increase because there is no U.S. power anymore in the region.
No
Temporarily.
wonder. Okay. Why does the U.S. and Iran hate each other?
For the U.S., they hate the Iranian because Iranian is the only country that cannot be defeated by the Israelis.
Oh yeah, as you explained at the first questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for the U.S., Israelian is like a golden boy that they need to protect, that they need to save from the Iranian power. Iranian always don't like with the U.S. because the U.S. always try to defeat them, military, politically, but also by insurgency. Because the Iranian is too strong to be defeated, it's not good for the U.S. interest in the region. What the U.S. want is that there is no power in the region except United States, Israel, or Saudi Arabia. So in the feeling of the Iranian, it's not fair for them because the U.S. also provided a blockade, economic and military sanctions as well. So the Iranian cannot, live in normal way. They cannot sell their product. They cannot import a product that they need, and also they cannot sell, for example, the gas and oil from the country because of the blockade and also the sanction from the United States.
The U.S. and Iran have a little war. If World War III happen, what causes will Indonesia will get?
That is for the second question.
So it is.
You have already.
Australian General Sulaiman is a good idea for you.
I will say it in my personal point of view
Yeah.
because there's no such a killing that is good, right?
Yes.
Trump is thinking that General Soleimani is a terrorist. Second, Trump is thinking that if they kill Soleimani, so the Iranian will lose the most powerful military strategist in Iran that also can, make a strategic Iranian influence in the region. So this person is very important for the U.S. also for Iran. Second point of the U.S. Strategy was that by doing this action, the public attention to the domestic politics in the U.S. will also be shifted, because now Trump is facing the impeachment process from the Congress. Now it's going to the Senate. So the Trump presidency need to move the attention of the domestic public to the other arena, that is Iranian conflict. Whether this is good or bad, I believe this is a good move from the United States, because of, according to international law, the killing is not fair killing. It's not fair killing. The Soleimani is not, the Iranian is not in official war with the United States. The Soleimani is in the official visit to Iraqi government, and also they have a formal meeting with the Iraqi government, and no harm done by Soleimani. He's not doing an aggressive action to any country. He's not, for example, smuggling weapons or chemical weapons or illegal money or money laundering or whatever. But the U.S. can, so it's not fair. So it's not good. And Iranian is not a small boy. Of course, they will defend.
So let's just say that Trump is afraid of Soleimani, that he will.
Yeah. The U.S. presidency is afraid with Soleimani because he's so smart. He is so smart and so powerful.
Okay. What happened with that Ukrainian plane crash?
The Ukrainian, there are two ways to see the incident. First is that happened in the situation of conflict. That was also happened when the U.S. also shot one civilian plane in Afghanistan some years ago, civilian one, and that is also happened to the Iranian plane shot by the Iranian military. So it's not a good way to the normal international relation practice. So it's not good. Second one, we need to see that in every conflict zone, there must be always, we found, let's say, the casualties, the innocent casualties. So better for, the Iranian to apologize, of course, and also to avoid the recurrent incidents happen to the civilian. And it shows also that during conflict, sometimes the sophisticated strategy as well as the sophisticated technology cannot 100% totally avoid the innocent civilian victims.
Okay, so that means the Iran apologize?
Yeah.
Okay. Will there be any more attacks in either both countries?
Sorry, what?
Will there be any more attacks in either both countries?
I don't know.
Oh,
But
yeah.
because the U.S. has already started the conflict, so we need to assume that there must be any possibility for recurrence.
There must be a possibility.
Yeah, because it has already started.
What is the current situation in U.S. and Iran?
Domestically or bilaterally?
Yeah.
Bilaterally, right? I read the newspaper 2 days ago that the Iranian again launched and sent missiles to the United States Army barracks stationed in Iraq, and some casualties also in the U.S. side. It means that it will goes and goes and goes, meaning that we need to see how the United States will respond to the attack, to the missile attack from the Iranian side. But whatever happened, of course, the situation will be like, when you start, you need to know how to end. And the most best way to end the war is by diplomacy, not by missile or military attack.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your time, Mr.
No problem. No
Okay.
problem. Welcome.
Okay.
And it's good for your study and also
Yes.
for English. And of course, the topic is not one of the easy way to understand.
Yeah.
Even in the global political interaction among countries, the issue of Iran and U.S. is a long back history issue, and sometimes we need to follow it day by day without we can predict where is the end tunnel and where is the end of the conflict. It's again relates to how those two countries and another country in the region can settle the issue, and the best way is by diplomacy.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Mr.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Olivia from Hotline Direct. The killing of a Virgin military leader for the first time since World War II, Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, encouraged anger from the Iranian people and the world. The United States openly started a bid inside to start this new decade. In relation, Iran fired ballistic missile at U.S. military bases in Iraq, although there were no reports of fatalities at the time. In the midst of their effort to invade this case, an Iranian military carried out firing missiles into the air which killed all 176 people on board.
Hi, I'm Raida in Hotline Direct. The US and Iran war has the potential of being the worst conflict in the history. We will never know what will happen next and plans that Iran, US, and other countries has for the future. Indeed, it could be better or maybe turning it into a bigger war. If people say that everything is fine now, they're wrong, because this is definitely far from over. The crisis has become more complicated in the past week.
An Iranian-backed militia killed an American contractor while wounding others in rocket attacks, leading the Trump administration to order retaliatory strikes on 5 targets in Iraq and Syria that killed 25 of the militia fighters. You may have heard of the phrase "the fog of war." It refers to how hard it is for opposing sides to know what's going on in the heat of battle. It's particularly difficult when they don't talk to one another, as is the case with US and Iran. Experts note that neither of the countries want a full-blown conflict. Trump also mentioned that he just wants peace and when it comes to Iran. Although the chances of war is high, since Iran's leadership has sworn to exact retribution for Soleimani.
Hello, welcome back to the studio. Now let me summarize our news. So, as our guest Mr. Habib said, the US won an easy way, but with a big consequence, and by killing General Soleimani personally. It is a good political way, but with other things except politics. So, let's hope that the Third World War will not happen. Then, we explain the increasing tension between the conflict that was started by the US by launching missiles to kill the Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and incite the anger of the people of Iran and the world. Iranian forces fired a barrage of ballistic missiles at a military base in Iraq that housed hundreds of US troops in retaliation for the killing of Soleimani. Last but not least, we report the current situation between Iran and the US. The situation is not getting better and the chances of the war are high. What can we do to help the situation is to remain calm and pray. Don't another war or heat up the situation. The world needs peace. Thank you for today. I'm Alia, and you're watching Hotline Direct.